Hello everyone, welcome back. This video is a step-by-step guide to start smallholder farming in your backyard. This is a step-by-step guide for you to start smallholder farming at your backyard. Smallholder farming is increasingly popular among urban dwellers and those with limited land. Even with one plot of land and urban farming methods, you can make money. Even with just one plot or a modest backyard, you can grow food, earn income, and contribute to food security. Here is a comprehensive, practical guide to get you started. Number one is to assess your space and resources. Plant, and that's the land size. Measure your plot or backyard. Even a single plot, about 60 to 120 feet, or 50 to 100 feet, or 18 by 36 meter is enough for diverse crop or small livestock. Then the number two thing you need to look at is sunlight. Ensure the area receives at least 6 hours of sunlight daily. Then number three thing you need to look at is the water source. Access to water is crucial. Consider rainwater harvesting or simple irrigation methods if municipal water is expensive or unreliable. You see, I travel to India, Gujarati specifically, Surat area, and I see the amount of irrigation that they are doing there. I tell people one of the key things I learned from that place is irrigation. Irrigation. Every farm there is irrigation water because rain will fall for 4 months. In the next 8 months, rain is not going to. There will not be rain. So they have a systems in place that every farm has a water source, and they practice flooding irrigation. And I hope we also Nigerians, whether you are doing the farming at your backyard or any other place, you can be able to also practice irrigation. You can't be expecting the rain. The rains will be here for like 4 months or so, and then the rain will go off. Then the 8 months, what happens? Then we keep crying, no food, no food, no food, no. Anything we can do to make sure that we are able to irrigate, let us do it, and this will help our food security. Now, soil quality is also important. Test your soil or use raised beds containers if the soil is poor. Then you can get fertilizer from cow dung or poultry manure. You can get fertilizer from there. And you can also buy the commercial fertilizer like SSP, NPK, and many others. Number two thing you need to do is to choose your farming method. Number one, in this case, is traditional backyard farming. Grow crops directly in the soil or in garden beds. This is suitable for vegetables, spinach, okra, tomatoes. Then roots also are good, cassava, yam, and even small livestock, poultry and rabbits. Then another aspect of this is urban farming methods. The method, you can use container farming. You use sacks like bucket, old tires, or pots to grow crops. Great for limited space or for land or for a house that is tiled or that is cemented. No problem, you can still farm. Go and get soil and then bring it in sacks, and then take the sack inside, and then you manure the sack, and then you plant in the sack, and then everything, you can plant maize in the sack, can plant any other thing you want to plant in the sack, and then you'll be getting food all year round. So that is another aspect. Then you can also practice vertical farming. In vertical farming, what you do is that you grow crops on shelves or stacked layers. You maximize space. This is ideal for leafy and greens. Then rooftop gardens. You convert flat rooftops into productive gardens, useful in dense urban areas. So these are some of the methods that people are using. Then hydroponics also. You grow plants in nutrient-rich water instead of in soil. This saves water and increases yield. Then microgreen farming. In microgreen farming, what you do is that you cultivate fast-growing greens in trays, indoors or outdoors. This has high value and quick harvest. Then aquaponics is another one. In aquaponics, you combine fish farming with hydroponics and fish waste, fertilizers, and plants. Then number three thing you need to do is to select profitable and fast-growing crops. I spoke about fast-growing crops in my previous video. These fast-growing crops you can select are leafy greens, vegetables, spinach, amaranth, fruited pumpkin, lettuce. Then you harvest in 4 to 6 weeks or thereabout. Then you can also use vegetables, okra, tomatoes, pepper, cucumber. Then herbs, scent leaf, basil, mint. Then apart from this, you can also go for root crops like cassava and yam. You choose early maturing varieties like in 6 months or 5 months that mature. Those are the things you should go for. Then microgreens, radish, mustard, and sunflower. These are some of the things you should go for. Number 4 aspect of this topic is to prepare your land or containers. This is a very, very important aspect of it. Clear and clean. Remove debris, weeds, and stones. Then soil enrichment. Add compost or organic manure to improve fertility of the soil. For containers, use a mix of soil, compost, and sand. Then raise beds. Build raised beds for better drainage and easier management. Then you have to set up urban systems. Install shelves for vertical farming. Set up hydroponic trees or arrange containers. Now, let's look at the planting and maintenance. In planting, you follow recommended spacing for each crop. Stagger plantings for continuous harvest. Then watering also. Water regularly if it is not rainy season, preferably in the morning or evening. Then you can also use drip irrigation or watering cans are efficient for small pots. Watering cans are efficient. You are just using a container that will just pour everything into one place. That one place will be dipping. But if you use a watering can, it has holes that allows the water to come out in trickles. So it's going to spread on the farm or on the bed evenly. So this is what you should do. Drip irrigation or watering cans are efficient for small pots. Then, apart from this, you have to mulch. You use cover soil with dry grass or leaves to retain moisture and suppress weeds. Then, apart from this, you have pest management. Use organic methods like neem spray, hand picking, or companion planting. Recently, I did hand picking with some boys staying around me, and we went on to do hand picking with my children too. I was there doing the hand picking. They were also there doing hand picking because we planted egusi. And egusi, in egusi, you cannot use hoe to be weeding. If you use hoe to weed, you're going to farm out all the egusi. So we did hand picking of the weeds, and in the process, the people are asked to do hand picking. They also hand picked and removed some of the egusi in the process, and that made me to harvest the egusi early and then plant okra and cassava on the farm. Now, as I was saying, pest management, hand picking, or companion planting. Now, you need to diversify with small livestock, and this is optional, but I am doing that. I have a small poultry in the garden of my house. We have like 10, 20 to 30 birds, as the case may be, and there's the differences sometimes. So, poultry, start with 10 to 15 chickens in a small coop. We use chicken scraps and grains for feed. In my own case, I'm not doing just the local poultry. I am doing the layers poultry. So I have the battery cage and I raise them. So rabbits also, you can do rabbits. I've done rabbit before, but it's like I didn't get it right. It didn't do well, so I've stopped it. So rabbits are easy to rear. They require little space and they reproduce quickly, and then you can eat the meat and you can also sell it. Then fish farming is another one. You use plastic tanks or barrels for fish, for catfish or tilapia in urban settings. Now, number 7 is harvesting and marketing. You harvest early and often. Pick leafy greens and vegetables frequently to encourage regrowth. Then you have to sell locally. Market your produce to neighbors, to local markets, or via social media and WhatsApp groups. Now, you can also use what you have planted and that has grown in your home. So you reduce grocery bills and you improve your family's nutrition. Do you know that we made fufu in our house yesterday, and today we ate it? We prepared it ourselves. I bought the cassava because I didn't farm cassava this year, so I bought the cassava from a friend from his farm, and then we soaked it and we processed it. We peel it and process it, and then the process of making the fufu. Now we pounded it, we turned it, we do everything. It came out better than the ones we used to buy in the commercial market. It came out better. So if you want your family to eat better, you have to do some kind of farming also to help your family's nutrition, not just for the money part alone, but for the nutrition and well-being of your family. Some of the farming that I do is basically because of my family. Because if I'm raising layers, eggs, and farming eggs, then we are not going to complain about eggs in our home because we are raising the eggs. Number 18 you need to do is to reinvest, and then you scale up. Start small. Begin with what you can manage, and then reinvest profits to expand gradually. Then continuous learning. Attend workshops watch online tutorials, and join local farmer groups for support and new ideas. On this channel, I've talked about different aspects of farming. You can check it in the playlist which I've called agricultural businesses. Now, let's talk about the sample layouts for one plot urban farm. So the section is raised beds. You can plant spinach, amaranthus or okra on the raised beds. On containers, you can plant tomatoes, peppers, and herbs. Then the vertical shelves, you can plant lettuce and microgreens. Then on the small coop, you can plant poultry or rabbits, and you can raise poultry or rabbits. Then the fish tank, which can be optional. You can raise catfish or tilapia. Now, here is my tip for you to succeed in this business. You have to maximize space. Use vertical and container methods to grow more in less area. Then diversify. Mix crops and small livestock to spread risk and increase profit. Then stay consistent. Regular care and timely planting, harvesting are key. Daily I go and look at the farm. When you go to look at the farm, even though I just worked on it yesterday, you still go the following day, you still go every day. So you may be spending 30 minutes on it, looking around and removing this and putting this there and looking for something and putting something somewhere. And that is how it goes. Like okra. When okra starts, when it matures and it starts bringing up the fruit, you have to be harvesting it every day or every 3 days, depending on how large it is. Then another thing you need to do is to network. You connect with other urban and smallholder farmers for ideas and market access. In conclusion, you don't need vast land or huge capital to start smallholder farming. With a simple plot or even less, and by adopting urban farming techniques, you can grow fresh food, earn income, and contribute to a healthier environment. Start small, learn continuously, and watch your backyard farm flourish. So this is what I have for you in this video. My name is Dr. Olugbengade Titun, and I'm the brain behind the Dr. Olugbengade Titun YouTube channel. I want you to come along with me on this channel because a lot of opportunities are open here on this channel. Please, I beg you, take action on any one of the things you like on this channel. Focus on one area and take action. When you master that area, then you scale it up and then look at another area and then you take action on it. Why did I say you should take action? Action takers are favored by the goddess of good luck. I said I was the first person to start farming around in my backyard. When I started, every time my wife would go every morning, every 3 days morning, she would go and harvest yam. There was a day that there was like nothing in the house. And then I saw that my wife pounded yam. How did you pound yam? Get yam to pound. She went to the backyard where I've planted yam. And then even though we have finished harvesting, she went round to search and was able to dig up something. And then she brought it into the house and then she made pounded yam that night. So when you are a farmer, the problem of feeding is out of your problem if you go into backyard farming. So I can't remember the last time it was compulsory for us to buy leafy vegetables. We have them in our house. I have a small garden where I raise leafy vegetables and ugu and amunututu, that's the Indian spinach, and many other leaves are there that will raise here and there. So this is your time. What are you going to do with this information? Are you going to use it or you're just going to bypass it? Please use it so that it could benefit you. I will talk to you in the next one. Please like this video, subscribe to this channel, click the notification bell and share the link of this video with your family and friends. Let them see it and also start farming, so I do not be coming to your own farm and be begging you for things anytime they get to your house, because they also have their backyard farming at the back of their house. Until I come your way in the next one, this video popping up by the side from my channel is the next one I want you to watch. Please go ahead and watch this next one. Go ahead and watch it. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.